Niaje watu wangu, welcome to another sit down with Anonymous team. Let's get straight to it. Now, there's this lady, her name is Bridget Harris. You can't believe it. She actually cut off her father's penis. Now, the reason as to why she did that is because apparently the father abused her, used to abuse her when she was a child. And later on, as time progressed, she also came to find out that the father was abusing her nieces. Now, prior to all of that, this young lady had disclosed to her, not really disclosed, but this young lady at a very tender age was really left out, was really, or is it, what's the word? Is it ostracized by the family, the grandmother? She never felt the presence of her mother's love, even from a tender age. As she was born, the father himself had actually denied that she was his child. So you can understand the amount of trauma that this young lady grew up to begin with. You can understand the anger and the bitterness that later on down the road led her to do this heinous crime, right? So I'd like for us to react on a small snippet of this video. Then you guys can go and watch the whole video on the Stolen Lives YouTube channel. But it's it's a really sad story if you ask me. And Anonymous team, I'm not the type of guy to be reacting to sad stories, but this one most definitely caught my attention. And the fact being that I am very big when it comes to advocating for children's rights, advocating for, advocating for children's rights in general. This really caught my attention and I had to react on it. So let's just react on a snippet.
7. Police officers and paramedics were called to a third-floor apartment in Rockaway, Queens, and found 55-year-old Eric Goodridge on the floor. He was handcuffed. His mouth was stuffed with a towel secured by duct tape. The police checked for a pulse. There was none. He was dead. At first, the officers couldn't figure out how he died, but they soon realized something was missing. It was his penis. It had been cut off and was nowhere to be found. There's a lot to this story. Viewer discretion is advised. Bridget Harris.
So first of all, I actually think it's such a fucked up thing for, a child to do such a heinous act on a father. But it's just as equally as messed up as a father, sexually assaulting and sexually abusing the child. You can't, I can't just imagine what this child, if at all these claims are true, I can't really imagine what this child went through for, her young life, as she was growing up. The other thing, from what I got to understand from this story, is that the father and the mother were, let me say, well-educated people. They had managed to, travel all the way to the United States. They had managed to start, at least to start something of worth for themselves and for their family. However, one thing led to another. They got divorced. The mother went back to Africa. And there's even an instance where Bridget and her siblings had gone to Africa to visit the mother. Although in this story, apparently the mother was also not very present. Actually, here there's a time that the mother left them and went for church when they had pressing and urgent matters that actually needed the mother's attention. So it's pretty sad if you look at it, right? But still, I still feel that there was still a very strong maternal bond between the mother and the kids, because when Liberia was facing the civil war, the mother managed to convince the US embassy that her children were US citizens and they got airlifted back to the United States. So definitely, a loving mother is the type that will, move, heaven and earth to make sure that her children are safe and sound in times where there is, in times like that particular period where Liberia had a civil war. So it's a really, really messed up and fucked up story. And the unfortunate thing is that this is not the first and the last of these stories. We hear of these stories on the news, right? And for instance, today I actually just saw a video of a mother beating up the child as if the child was a thief. This lady was standing on top of this child's head. From my estimate, the child is about 4 or 5. Standing on top of this child's head, jumping on top of this child's head, lifting the child's up and, throwing the child down and beating this child with a stick. I'm like, what kind of discipline is this? What kind of anger is this? What kind of anger would lead a woman, a parent for that matter, to do this? Is it that this lady or some of these people are not mentally stable? However, even in some of these instances, when these people go to court and they are assessed for mental illnesses, majority of them come out clean. Majority of them come out okay. So it just goes to show you that these are sane people who do insane stuff. Now, does this make you believe in witchcraft and demon possession? It's, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. It's really, really sad, and violence against children is really, really rampant. And the unfortunate thing is it's not being not being campaigned against as much as violence against women is being campaigned against. In my opinion, violence is violence, and violence against women is violence against children is the worst form of violence that there is. People say that violence against women is the worst violence. No, violence against children is the worst violence, while it's the worst type of violence that there can ever be. Yes, a woman is a weaker gender compared to a man, but a woman is an adult, and a woman can protect a woman has the brain and the intelligence to, think of how to protect herself from her assailant in the instance of physical abuse, right? They can run away, they can outrun the man, assuming it's male to female violence, right? They can run away from the man. They can pick something and hit the man. There's so many ways that an adult woman can try to do to protect herself from a male physical assailant, right? But a child has no way whatsoever to protect themselves. A child cannot outrun a grown up, right? A child, even if a child takes something and tries to hit a grown up who's trying to, abuse them, they do not have the power and the strength to inflict as much harm as a grown up can, right? The grown up is much faster, much stronger, can endure pain more than the child. So many aspects that make violence against children the worst type, or rather the worst form of violence. Even verbal violence against children, man. Anonymous team is an advocate for against child abuse. This is so sad, and I'm really sorry for this lady and what she had to go through. I cannot justify her actions for cutting off her father's penis. Um, you cannot repay wrong for wrong. Having had, or rather, having had grown up at the time, it's so unfortunate that family and society probably had let her down, and it's also so unfortunate that she had to go through that heinous route of cutting off her father's penis, probably torturing the man and all of that. It's just unfortunate. But what I learned from all of this is that we need Jesus as a society. We need Jesus as a world. Some of you don't believe in God. Some of you don't believe in Jesus. But to each his own. You know, whatever way we can make this world a better place, then I'm all for it. But please do tell me down on the comment section below, what do you think about this story in particular, and also what you think about violence in general. On top of that, do tell me your comparisons when it comes to gender-based violence, most especially violence against women compared to violence against children. I, as Anonymous Team, I believe that violence against children is the worst form of violence that there can ever be, that there has ever been. But do tell me on the comment section what you think about the whole topic in general. So see you on the next one.